I'm Jess Goldstein, and I'm the costume designer for On the Town. On the Town, it takes place in 1944 at the height of World War II in New York City, and it's about 3 young sailors who are all arriving for a 24-hour leave, which was a thing that happened during the war. They really want to do everything that they can do in that 24 hours, but the thing they most want to do is they each want to meet a girl. The show begins with our 3 sailors coming to New York, so that was the very first sketch I did, actually. I found a wonderful piece of research of 3 sailors and pretty much just kind of copied it, because you don't want to take any liberties with that uniform. When we started fitting the boys, we were able to get a little bit of a better fit than a real sailor uniform, so that you see their bodies a little bit in a nicer way, and it emphasizes their dance moves. Alicia Umphris, who plays Hildy, she is amazing, and I was so fortunate that I got to meet her, and but not only meet her, but also watch her do the role in a couple of different workshops. So even though she wasn't in costume at all, I was able to kind of see the way her body moved, the way she kind of approached the role. In my research, I found 2 kind of key pieces of research. One was a film still from a Rita Hayworth movie in which she's playing a lady cab driver, and I used that. And that was mainly for the cap and just kind of the attitude. And then I also found a wonderful piece of research from a fashion layout in the 40s, and there was something about the stripes on the skirt that this woman is wearing, the model is wearing in that photo, that I thought would be a great detail for the uniform. Elizabeth Stanley plays Claire de Lune. I don't know why, I think just seeing Elizabeth, I just thought she would look great in kind of turquoise, and it just seemed like a color that would key very well off, you know, all the other colors in the show, and yet be one of the brightest ones. I wanted her in a suit because she's an anthropologist, and she kind of takes herself very seriously, and I think part of the humor of that character is she tries to be kind of very repressed and keep it all in, and yet it all keeps on, her sexuality of course keeps on bursting out of her, so a suit seemed like the answer to that character. Jackie Hoffman, at one point she plays Senorita Dolores, who's a nightclub performer that seems to be very much based on Carmen Miranda. It's kind of, who was a big nightclub and movie star from the 1940s. So of course I did my research looking at all the various things that Carmen Miranda wore in these movies, which are, you know, unbelievable. I mean, they're just these like abstract works of art. They go beyond what we think of as clothing. This is Jackie as Madame Dilly, Maud Dilly, and she's the singing teacher that Ivy goes to at Carnegie Hall. And I dressed her in a slightly earlier period. She's a little bit more in the 30s, just being a woman of a certain age. I feel like she should have been, you know, she would be kind of caught in a previous period. So she's more of a 1930s look, and very kind of, she's kind of based on, I think probably like an art teacher that I had when I was in elementary school. Funny thing about On the Town is the leads hardly change costumes at all, because it all takes place in one day. So our female leads, most of them have 2 costumes. The men, the 3 sailors, just have that 1 costume. They just have the 1 uniform. Whereas our ensemble are constantly changing clothes. There are many, many quick changes. People are always asking me how many costumes there are, and I really need to go back once and watch the show and kind of jot down the number. I think there are probably about 275. We have, I believe, 28 actors, and of course we have our swings, who have many, many costumes. The swings, of course, have more costumes than anybody else because they have to cover so many roles. So I think if you count the swings into it, we probably have 300 costumes in the show. I'm not afraid of color. I love color, and I really love embracing color and doing these wild combinations of colors sometimes that I think, to me, are very natural and very kind of, in a funny way, even predictable. But then so many people, other costume designers, will say like, oh my God, you were so amazing with the color, the way you put this together with that, and you know, that they wouldn't think to do it. So I guess it's something that I just kind of naturally do without too much effort or too much thinking about it. I think the style that I was trying to evoke, it was be true to the 1940s, but very much the 1940s as seen by those Technicolor movies from the 1940s. And a lot of my research was actually looking at a lot of those films, a lot of them from MGM, 20th Century Fox, Warner Brothers. It's a cliche to say it, but I think what we tried to do was create a Valentine to New York City that is both a nostalgic Valentine to the New York that was, but also it's a kind of a hopeful vision of what New York can be like today. If you are somebody just coming to New York for the first time, it's the way you see New York. You see it as a more colorful and a happier and a more joyous and probably a sexier place than perhaps what the reality is. New York, New York.